All right, guys. Coming up right now. Here we go. Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Hanna Time coming up. Are you ready? Are you ready, guys? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back, guys. Ladies, here we go. All right, welcome back to Global Sports Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna, right here on Hanna Time. It is a Tuesday around the world, and I want to bring you more sports today after a long week. A lot of time off, good times, good stories, but I won't get into that. But I want to get into what happened over the weekend, what happened yesterday in sports. A lot of news. Definitely one of the hot topics, a couple of hot topics right now in the sports world. We'll get into that. Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We got also Instagram going live, and we'll bring it to you right now. All right. NASCAR held its breath last night while Denny Hamlin goes back to back winning the Daytona 500. Ryan Newman, his name all over the media, all over the world. If you're into auto racing or just finding out a story, he was about to win the Daytona 500. Ryan Newman was getting pushed from behind by one of his teammates to push him up to the front. Denny Hamlin was leading the race. It was in overtime, which means you get 2 laps after a crash. And what happened next was just remarkable. It was exciting, and it was scary. Denny Hamlin lost the lead as Ryan Newman was pushed way up in front. But Denny Hamlin made a second move. He got behind the teammate of Ryan Newman and pushed him up to the front, towards the front. Ryan Newman decided to get in front of his own teammate to block Denny Hamlin, push up towards the top one last time as they were coming around the 4th turn and heading for home. It was going to be a great finish. You can see it. But Ryan Newman's teammate, while being pushed from behind by Hamlin, which is all legal, again, Newman got in front of his teammate to block the push, the late push by Hamlin. The bumpers clipped and spun out Ryan Newman. And at that moment, excitement and scary came through everybody's mind, literally at the finish line, while Ryan Newman's car smashes head on first into the wall, straight into the wall, right where like Dale Earnhardt lost his life on that track, crashing straight into the wall. Daytona 500. Bounces back out. Still in the lead at that point when his car is crashing. As he's sliding towards the finish line, his car gets rammed or T-boned, and it gets flipped in the air. Tumbling through the air. Ryan Newman, at that point, who knows where he was, but he was in the car, landing back on the track on top of his head. Not literally, but the top of the car. The roof of the car slams back down onto the and crossing the finish line. As wild as that was, Denny Hamlin makes the move during that crash and slips by and edges out in the second closest finish in Daytona 500 history in NASCAR racing. As everybody was amazed as I was and numb, not realizing how bad of a crash this really was turning out to be. We knew it was ugly. We knew it was bad. When we get too comfortable when race drivers or anybody in an accident is going to be okay. We just believe it's going to be okay. We want to believe it's going to be okay. For Ryan Newman, it was serious. Fox Sports could not leave the airways. They tried as long as they could to stay live to give you as much as they can. But we're told, media was told nothing. But one thing was clear. One thing was clear. While Denny Hamlin, who wins his second in a row Daytona 500, trying to somewhat celebrate in a very darkish environment on the track or out in the stadium in Daytona, a stretcher is brought out towards Newman's car. Fire trucks trying to basically tear off the roof and doors of the car to get Newman out. It was tragic at that point. Crews are using black screens to block the incident, the crash scene, from the fans and everybody else, which alarmed me and a lot of people. Like, this is not good. This is horrific. I'm setting this up to let you know how devastating this race and how wild it can be, and how a life was about as close as you can get from losing it. In horse racing, they bring out the black screen to protect the viewers, the media, the spectators who don't want to see it or shouldn't see it as they take down a horse on the racetrack. When I saw the black screens brought out, I went, no way. This is not happening. They're not going to put him down, but this meant something fatal seems to be happening here. Like, that was my feeling. His body, for supposedly by witnesses, looked lethargic, like lifeless in a way. Besides the screens being put up, the media was asked to leave pit row and clear out. They wanted nobody around. This was going to be private and protected for everybody close enough to the Newman family itself. So no media had any access to any information other than the ones right there on the scene, the EMS people, and then they took him off to the hospital, which was really across the street on the outside the stadium. There's a hospital, so it wasn't like a long drive. It was really quick. They got him in, and as we all waited and held our breath, as we witnessed this crazy, wild, exciting, scary finish. Later on that evening, last night, the report came out that he is alive, that the injuries are not life-threatening, but at the same time, he is in serious critical condition. Waiting for more reports today, because it sounds like looks like he's going to be okay from what they said. Like, he's breathing, he's alive. They say not life-threatening, which you have to take the report as it is. But these are very sensitive times for somebody's life and his family to sit there and wait for his recovery. Dale Earnhardt death on that track flashed through my mind when I saw the impact head on. This is the second time the new technology, the new way of a track being built to protect drivers, the safety inside the car, saved a life. There was no way Newman survives if this was over a decade ago or more. If we just take care of ourselves as drivers, everyday life, we can survive. Blessings and prayers go out to the Newman family. Very, very touching, emotional time last night. It was just hard. Everybody was, from what I was reading, and there was a lot of people being upset that Hamlin somewhat celebrated, not sure what really happened, but knowing it was bad, a crash, but didn't really go excessive. The short-lived confetti moment in victory lane lasted about 10 seconds or less. It was like, all right, stand out, let's blow it, let's get this over with kind of thing. Joe Gibbs, the Super Bowl champion of the Washington Redskins, is the owner of this race team that won the Daytona 500. He would not cross over and celebrate anything until he knew what happened. What happened to the driver, to Newman itself. I'll get my mic back up for you. It was that devastating and that emotional. Fans were booing when any celebration that seemed to occur from Hamlin's team. Even on social media, reports were coming out that seemed to be false, or nobody wanted to believe it, or journalism ethics were being, well, scrutinized. There were a lot of people. This was a big story. And the sports world came awfully close, losing another high profile athlete in a sport that is very popular. Auto racing around the world. This is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Auto racing around the world is the fourth most popular sport around the world. Okay? It's the fourth. In America, it is the third behind American football, baseball. Let me get my microphone straight. There you go. All right. So, there you have it. Now, more coming out of this race as we try to set it up for you. You know, it was a Daytona 500 race that has continuously has wrecks towards the end of it. It's a very aggressive nature of a race that other races don't quite have. Daytona has always been an aggressive driving racetrack, especially at the finish line, where it takes time to finish the race. Every year, it seems like we have a lot of overtime racing because of crashes. There were drivers who were out of the race that moved up in the top 10 because of consistent crashes towards the end of the race. It all began with about 180 lap, or at the 183 lap mark, where there's 200 laps in the race. Right around 180, there are multiple crashes happening, and it continued. They got to the end. Hamlin was in first place as they're getting ready to leave yellow and go to green. Newman was in the fifth spot. Buescher and Harvick, 2 and 3. Boyer was number 4. And Blaney, number 6. Blaney was the teammate of Newman. Blaney got in front, got ahead, got up to Hamlin. Newman. So it became Hamlin, Newman, and Blaney. Newman and Blaney were teammates. Blaney pushed Newman up to the top and took the lead with less than a lap to go. 1 lap to go, and it looked like Newman was going to pull it off. And it was nothing that Hamlin could do because of the push from Blaney. But Hamlin got smart and got behind Blaney and pushed him to the top, towards the top, to help Hamlin get more speed to catch the leader, Newman. And then Blaney and Newman's car clipped. The bumper and the front ends clip. Newman spins out, crashes into the wall, flips in the air, gets T-boned, and lands hard. And it was 3 devastating blows. And the worst one, I mean, hitting the wall head on, it was devastating. But when you get T-boned, that is the most soft spot on the race car. A race car is soft right in the middle of the car by the door or by the window, by the driver's side right there where he got hit. And that's where it went, no way. That's when it all kind of really made me numb to watch that. I got excited for a crazy finish, you know, and then I went, oh no, like, no, kind of thing. And I know a lot of people did too. All right. Some of the nice things about the race, and I don't know if you follow enough NASCAR, but, you know, there's a changing of the guard in sports in a lot of ways. Baseball went through it in the last 5 years with a lot of young, beautiful, great talent. Football is going through it right now with all their quarterbacks, the older ones leaving, and the new generation showing up, and the younger athletes showing up, the football player. NASCAR is doing the same. Jeff Gordon's left. A lot of drivers have left over the last few years. This is the last. Well, put it this way. There were 6 rookies in the Daytona 500 yesterday. 6 of them. Okay? 4 of them finished the race. 10th, 13th, 16th, and 18th place. 2 of them never finished due to engine or incidents on the track. But that is a very special, good thing. Names that you haven't heard of yet probably will one day. But the changing of the guard. So that was one positive thing for the sport, is the changing of the guard of the top drivers leaving and the new ones coming in. Okay. All right. More about this race and more about the winner yesterday. Consecutive winner, Denny Hamlin, is the fourth driver in NASCAR history. Richard Petty did it in 73-74, Cale Yarborough in 83-84, and Sterling Marlin 94 and 95 both won the Daytona. All of them won the Daytona 500 in consecutive years, and yesterday Hamlin pulled it off in the second closest finish in history. But not only that, Hamlin has won the Daytona 500 3 times in the last 5 years. So he's got this track down. He is a legend of the Daytona 500, and you got to give him that much credit. I know it's not like NASCAR racing is not the most popular thing, and a lot of people who talk football and basketball, but I love all sports, and I love racing. I've been around it. I've worked a lot of NASCAR races over the years, and I have an understanding and an appreciation of the sport for what it is. Big cars, big engines, speed, and driving ability, and, a lot of luck and situations. Yes, it's a left-hand turn, but, if you want to compare about what's boring, you can watch golf, but if you understand golf, you think it's great. But if you don't, it's just, boom. People think baseball is boring because it's slow. And it's like, hey, football, do you realize football has less playing time, action time than 3 other sports? But the fact that they are always clashing, they're more in the huddle and more at the line of scrimmage than actual play time in football. Just let you know that. So the Daytona 500 is always moving. Hockey has constant action when you watch ice hockey. So I take all the negativity about a left-hand turn and how boring may be. But when you understand the sport and what really goes on, then you're on your edge a little bit. Then you're watching. Yeah, it's comfortable watching a NASCAR race. The beginnings are exciting, and then you kind of settle in, and then you monitor and watch and see who's doing what and who's passing and what. Getting tire changes and things like that matter. Accidents are going to happen a lot, and it changes the dynamic of the race. Like in any sport, an injury to a player, penalties on the field, right? A lot of things happen during a story of a live sporting event. So I enjoyed it. But I didn't enjoy the finish last night. But we're all relieved as we held our breath for the Newman family, and that Newman is alive and breathing. And they say it's not life-threatening. We don't know if he's paralyzed in any way. We're checking the wire constantly here because you just never know when this stuff's going to pop out. All right. But I'm going to move on to my next topic about baseball if I can. But we'll keep it posted about what is going on with Newman's medical situation, as I'm going to try to get one more update. Now, they're just saying non-life threatening. Doesn't mean he could be paralyzed and things like that, which we don't want. We don't want to hear anything like that. But the silence of the finish last night was definitely eerie, to say the most. All right, let's say hello to people who are popping in. George Zick in the house, Nora in the house. Good morning, everybody. Dawn. Hey, Joe. Joe from Canada. There she is. Brayon in the hey, Brayon. What's up, brother? I appreciate you popping in. The topics today, Brayon, we're going to get into football. We're going to get into baseball a little bit, okay? Thank you for popping in. Richard Obert in the house and Tina in the house. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next topic, baseball topic, okay? We've heard about it for a few months now about the Astros cheating scandal. It's not going to go away. We talked about this, how this was going to go throughout the baseball season. But now that spring training has arrived, the topic has been the main focus around all spring training sites for all the teams in Major League Baseball. Let's really understand that it's not going away and it won't go away. The commissioner of baseball, Mr. Manfred, made a statement yesterday and basically is getting a lot of heat for not penalizing not just the organization, which he did, but the players who organized and orchestrated the cheating. It's a big deal. We talked about that before, and you now know why it's a big deal. Now that the players are getting away with it, the players around the league are saying, not too fast. We're not happy. You're not penalized. You should be kicked out of the game, if anything, right? But nothing. You're not getting away with it. And it's not just pitchers. There are fielding positions, outfielders, infielders, catchers, even managers speaking up. And baseball is going to what? You cannot throw out a batter, and you're going to be warning every game. There's going to be players thrown out of games. And this probably doesn't stop after 220. The punishment is now going to be laid out by the ball players. You know, this is what happens in sports. Okay, hockey players take care of business on the ice. Yes, there's penalties and referees get involved, but they take care of their business. Baseball is going to take care of its business, the players. So if you're a Houston Astro fan, get used to it. It's not going away. I hope it's not like life-threatening fastballs to the head. But they like, this is the integrity of the game of baseball. The integrity of the game of baseball. People's careers, financial, everything around from the concession stand, okay, to a ball player trying to make it to the big leagues or who face the Astros. There is so much from financial and integrity and long-term effects. And the commissioner's office did not do its job, because if the players and the fans in a heavy majority feel like this, then you blew it. You did not understand how deep this really goes. And you're trying to look for proof. The proof has been well in the pudding. There's cherries in the pudding. There's strawberries in the pudding. Okay? And then there's a spoon that you can eat with it. It's there. I'm not quite sure how you ignore it. You're trying to get it in a technicality. What are you afraid of? Commissioner's office. Now the players in baseball are speaking loud and louder. It's intensifying. One of the great ones of the game right now. Some calling him the best ball player in baseball right now. Mike Trout. He's not going with it. He is not happy. And why does he care? He's a batter. It wasn't like maybe his pitcher got involved and wasn't pitching well that day against the Astros. Maybe they lost a game or two. It's an advantage. MVPs were lost and won because of it. That helps contracts. Okay? Altuve won the MVP for the Astros in 2017. You don't think that had an effect? Yes. Mike Trout rips into the Astros. You know, the sign stealing scandal. You know, Mike Trout has been accused of HGH allegations and other things. It seems like any ball player who does well in baseball will be accused of some type of PED. with no proof, and things have to be proven. Okay. But this is the second time in recent years that an MVP has been won or was won by a player who cheated the game. Ryan Braun of the Brewers cheated the game, won an MVP, won an MVP. And we all know, and it's come out that he did cheat. He lied. Then he says he's sorry. I mean, it was just crazy. But he won by a technicality that he did not. But we all know he did. And he's never been the same baseball player ever since, by the way, because he's cleaner now. Altuve, you robbed an MVP also from Mike Trout or Aaron Judge. Most likely Aaron Judge of the Yankees. So Trout is upset. Trout says it's sad for baseball. It's tough. They cheated. I don't agree with the punishments. The players are not getting any. They're not getting anything. It was a player-driven thing. It sucks because guys' careers have been affected. A lot of people lost jobs. It was tough. I mean, I told you this well over a month ago. 2 months ago. We were talking about this in December. Players are now speaking up in the same language, the same words. It was tough, he says. Me going up to the plate and knowing what pitch was coming, man, it would be fun out there. That's Mike Trout thinking like, man, if I know what pitch was coming. Quote, Mike Trout, a lot of guys lost respect for some of the guys. I lost respect for some of the guys. These are not new sentiments. They do, however, come to this time of frame. Now, people know that baseball and sports will find ways to win in a cheating way. I mean, but it's unacceptable. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, is the old cliche. That's unacceptable now. For me, it's unacceptable. For you, it's unacceptable. For everybody. In sports, it's still wrong. It's not acceptable to cheat the game, the integrity of the game. Now, baseball itself has been dark like this since October when this first came out. The commissioner's office for baseball could have handled this a lot better. A lot better. And they didn't. And now baseball is going to suffer more. And if not, it may actually create more excitement, more tension. Matter of fact, as a XFL football league starts off, it's been dissolved. Nobody cares about the XFL. You try it again, you're going to watch it. It's going to be and feel and watching like arena football in a way of it's there, it's something to watch, but nothing loyal and passionate about. For baseball, during a basketball NBA season, when there was NBA All-Star Weekend, the hockey season, which has been great and a lot of great stories, baseball has continued to stay in the news because of the scandal. Not a good thing for that respect, but they're in the news. Now we go on to spring training, and the story continues, and it gets bigger. Now the players want in. Now the players want to make a difference. Now the players want to be the disciplinary. And they're not gonna listen to the commissioner's office. And if you're gonna find them, this is gonna be really interesting. How does baseball gonna handle an abundance of this? There are a lot of players affected. This is not like one guy who's gonna look for revenge one day and get it, and that's it, and moves on. This affected players in the minor leagues, at the professional level, championships, awards, contracts, the concession beer, ice cream lady and guy. We can break it all down. You affected people's livelihoods. For what? You're going to get tarnished even more. This is what it's about. And the players are going to speak with action, which means it's going to continue in April, in May. It's going to continue in August. This is going to be a circus in a lot of ways. In the beginning, it's going to be a real circus. When they show up, the Houston Astros show up in a ballpark, they are going to have it. Now, booing is booing, and if you have sensitive skin, you're not going to last. But they're going to have to get used to a lot of harsh things happening from fans, players. This is it. This is what's going to happen. And it's going to be drama. It's going to be a story, right? Man, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be very informative. Baseball is going to grab a hold of your attention from now until the World Series with this topic. So in a lot of ways, baseball's popularity is up. And when the ball players do the discipline and they take it in their own hands, that is more popularity to the game. That is more rah-rah for those players. That is more support for the good guy around the world, as everybody's going to find out something sooner or later around the world. Locally, domestically, you're going to know right away. And then what happens when the Astros want to retaliate back? This is going to get fun, right? It's going to get fun. Yeah, we don't want violence, and we try to, but you know what? The commissioner's office blew it. This is what's going to happen. And if the Astros want to retaliate because enough is enough, it's never going to be enough for the good guy. Never going to be enough until they are tired of it, and then they move on. It's amazing. Now, I still want to see how baseball treats the Astros from this point on. Curt Schilling, 3-time World Series champion with the Phillies, right? Was it the Phillies, Red Sox and Diamondbacks, right? Now, he didn't win it with the Phillies. He lost it with the Phillies, right? Here's the thing. He said they should have at least stopped them from being postseason eligible, like they do in college football. You know, that you can't punish everybody in the season because there's too much there, but you should not let them play in postseason. There's other ways you could have punished the players. That would have been one of them. But ultimately, kicking them out of the game, like Hank Aaron said, should have been the case. Should have been the case. You know? All right, more comments coming in. I apologize. These topics really are mine. John Turner in the house, Stephanie in the house, MD in the house, Denise in the house, Warren, Jeff Brown, Nick Hanna in the house, Guadapo, Saipo in the house, Denise Rebel in the house, Bob in the house, Billy Wise, Moreno in the house. We got Rex Walters, Eddie. Who else? We got Mr. Manfredi in the house, Casper, Brandon, Wilson, Tom Brandon in the house, Donnie Wiseman. Hey, Donnie. Kenny Salinas, JT Houlihan in the house. A lot of comments coming in about NASCAR. I see it. Joel and Glory in the house. Thank you, guys. Donnie says putting the what on the chalk? Oh, the pudding on the chalk. I like that one. Tonisha in the house. Tim, Josh, Yodis, Kim, Montoya in the house. T. Williams in the house. I thank you so much, Scotty and Antonio. Todd in the house. Hey, Todd. MLB in the commissioner's office blew it. Yes, they did. They dropped the ball on it, completely on it. All right, here we go. Moving on. Here are some more upset players. Yu Darvish says this. It's like the Olympics. Yu Darvish is a professional pitcher in Major League Baseball. He was on the Dodgers when they lost the World Series in 2017. You know, he played for the Cubs last season, the Chicago Cubs. Here's his perspective on the Astros. It's like the Olympics. When a player cheats, you can't have a gold medal. but they still have a World Series title, meaning the Houston Astros. So he's not happy that the commissioner's office would not take away the championship after knowingly they cheated. Right? When Ben Johnson cheated in the Olympics, when they found out that he was on a PED, right, and he beat Carl Lewis, right? It was Carl Lewis, right? And they took away Ben Johnson gold medal because he tested positive. He cheated the game. He cheated the sport. He cheated in the Olympics. They took it away. For Yu Darvish, an international player, has come over to this country to play and now says this is bad. They should have taken away the World Series title. They should be stripped of it. Yu Darvish. Yankees catcher Gary Sanchez, whose team is lost to the Astros in 2017 by one game because there was a Game 7 that went to the World Series. And last year in 2019 when Altuve walked it off with a home run in Game 6. When Gary Sanchez was asked about Altuve's home run in last year's Game 6 ALCS, he said this, I can tell you this, if I hit a home run to send my team to the World Series, they can rip my pants off. They can rip anything off. What he's pertaining to is when Altuve would not allow anybody take off his shirt because of a potential buzzer taped onto his chest that would notify him what pitch was coming from the camera shots in the outfield. And he would get a buzzing sound on the body. One means this pitch, two buzzing means this, another pitch, three buzzing means another pitch. Understand? When you're going to the World Series and you're that excited, shirts have been ripped off their bodies in a regular season game. And the excuse Altuve had was a tattoo that he didn't want his family and wife to see. And then yesterday, Altuve walks around with his shirt off purposely for everybody to see a lame tattoo that nobody knows if it was actually a brand new tattoo in like the last month or so, or something that was maybe last year. But he made sure everybody saw the tattoo to kind of help but then you walked around yesterday like no big deal. That didn't go well with a lot of people in the media and a lot of people in baseball. That was a posing front facade of trying to sell the fact that you cheated or that you did not cheat. Altuve, put your shirt on. It doesn't matter. You already been convicted of cheating by the fans, by the media, and by the baseball players that you are competing against. You are forever in darkness in the baseball world. That is my strong opinion, and I believe I'm not alone. Bregman, Correa, right? Who else we want to talk to? Hey, Mr. Verlander, who talked about cheating in baseball's being juiced. Where are you in your voice? Huh? Nonsense. The Houston Astros and now the Boston Red Sox will get theirs. Baseball has yet to finalize their punishment or their books, their file on the Boston Red Sox, who are tied into this whole thing because of their manager who was just fired, was with the Astros as a assistant manager in 2017 when this all came down. Okay? But my goodness, JD Martinez, you know, the great hitter for the Boston Red Sox, who had a great 1 year, first year as a Red Sox. They win the World Series. He was great. He was amazing. You couldn't get this guy out, JD Martinez. And he's a good player. But he had a career year in 2018 with the Red Sox. But the Red Sox got caught. The Yankees caught them. But the Red Sox called out the Yankees on something else. But the Yankees didn't care because they knew what the Red Sox were doing was a lot more dangerous to the game and far beyond what everybody else may be trying to do. The Red Sox and the Astros went above and beyond. And there is a rule in baseball to remind everybody about devices, electronics, and using cameras is a no-no. But JD Martinez, knowing that, he's been outspoken about making this sound like this is not a big deal. JD Martinez, be ready. Somebody may be coming after you too. Martinez takes the issue differently. He says this after hearing Mr. Manfred's, the commissioner of baseball, addressing this topic. The Boston Red Sox designated hitter, sometime fielder, says using video extensively in his preparation and recording every swing during batting practice and routinely breaking down footage to check for irregularities. That's practice played a major league role in my success. But he was with the Astros in 2014. FYI, how long have the Astros been doing this? He is an Astro in 2014. Okay, using video and breaking down footage is a big part of the game. We all know that. We are allowed, and you are allowed to analyze your game by watching video. But there's a time and a place for that. During the game, a lot of players would study their performance to make adjustments. They do that in football. They have these pads on the sidelines and they're looking at stuff. There is technology in every game, but baseball now may have to, and it looks like they are going to eliminate more technology. More technology. But JD Martinez says, no. Why? Stop it. Then he says this. About the restrictions about eliminating video. He says, I was in the minor leagues in AA and AAA and using all this stuff. You can always go back and check, he says. But JD Martinez says that all this stuff about the Astros needs to go away. JD Martinez says it's too much. It's over. In other words, he's saying it's too much, meaning we're talking about it way too much, and enough is enough. JD Martinez, it's not enough. And why are you protecting the Astros? Or are you protecting yourself? And are you protecting the Boston Red Sox? Or trying to? Because if anything comes out, and baseball has, at this point, has kissed the ass of the Red Sox and trying to protect them for whatever reason, but there are people strongly feeling that the Red Sox need more punishment too. And a warning is out. Players are also not happy with the Red Sox. Just letting you know. This is a big story for baseball. JD Martinez, for whatever reason, you should have just kept quiet. Kept quiet. Because your team is being looked at still. Not over. But where is baseball? Did metrics and technology ruin the game? It did. In a way of, look what the Astros did. Look what the Red Sox did. They went way above and beyond the use of technology that was allowed in the game. They cheated. Bill Belichick and the Patriots cheated. They went above and beyond what it was allowed in the game of football, the NFL. They got caught. Okay? All right. Even Bill Madden of the of the Chicago Cubs, now with the Angels, he's the manager of the Angels right now. The former Tampa Bay Rays manager, great manager, says that baseball needs to scale it back with all this technology. He's saying and suggesting that it's probably better for the game. Let the purity of the game be what it was. Let the purity of baseball be the talent of the integrity of the game itself. Let's get back to the roots of it and not let technology overexpand itself and eliminate a lot of the nature of the game of athletic ability and competition. Man versus man, athlete versus athlete, and trying to pinpoint everything with technology and metrics and all the Harvard law student or the Harvard student who tries to figure out stuff but never picked up a bat in his life, but wants to come into an office and get a job. To give you an analogy that has helped, like the Oakland A's in Moneyball, but the Oakland A's still haven't won anything. They still haven't won a playoff series since Moneyball. You know what I mean? Like, so how great is all this stuff? But there are teams, winning World Series without it. And now there's teams winning World Series that were cheating. The Red Sox and the Astros. The Red Sox have not been convicted like the way the Astros were. But, man, it surely does. They fired the manager. That's like admitting it without saying it, or baseball going, good, let's move on. We don't need another story because this is ugly and we don't need it. Baseball is trying to brush it all under the carpet, man. You know what happens? Everybody pulls up the carpet one day. We pulled out the carpet in our house and we did a nice job on our floor, right? But when we pulled up that carpet, we're like, ooh, there's a lot of stuff under there. That's what baseball players are going to be doing this season. They pulled up the carpet and they're going to expose what really is under there. And they're going to force the issue until it gets cleaned out and refreshed. A new surface and a new beginning. Baseball is back. I'm excited. New rules in baseball. Pitchers must face 3 batters in a game, no matter who it is, starting pitcher, unless there's an injury. If there's an injury, that's okay. They got to leave the game. But relief pitchers cannot just face 1 batter, cannot come in and throw 1 pitch. They have to face 3 batters at a minimum. Speeds up the game, changes the dynamic of strategy, manager to manager. The specialty pitcher, the lefty versus lefty, righty versus righty, changes because now there's a lefty up and you bring your lefty in, but guess what? He got the lefty batter out, but now he's going to have to face a righty batter. And it changes the game. Makes the game more interesting. But is that a knee-jerk reaction? There are a lot of jobs in baseball that were specializing in just 1 pitch to get 1 batter out, to get a lefty out, and that's it. To get a righty batter out because he was a righty, that's it. And then get him out of the game and save the arms. Save the arms because you're going to have to come back tomorrow, but you only pitched and threw 8 pitches in that game yesterday, and now you can come back today and pitch. Get it? Baseball also will expand its roster to 26. Okay? Rosters opening day through August 31st has increased from 25 to 26. So now you can have an additional player. Now that is very important because of the bullpen and the minimum batters you face. Because now you need an extra pitcher in the bullpen because guys are going to get tired. And during the regular season, it's going to be a grueling time. And we're going to find out if we need another roster spot to help these teams and help these pitchers to be fresh and strong and not get injured and hurt because of a lot of balls being thrown during a season. So they're increasing the roster spot to 26. After August 31st, then it becomes wide open. And you can add a bunch more to your roster, bringing up minor leaguers and things like that. And it helps out the bullpen. So pay attention to that for baseball. Also, pitchers who are placed on the injured list will be reinstated after 15 days instead of 10 days, giving the pitchers more time to heal, more time to get back, in a way of protecting the pitcher too. So pitchers, again, that are on the injured list will be reinstated after 15 days instead of 10. Those are the three major baseball rule changes that are announced as we get close to Major League opening day in April. Spring training baseball games a little over a week away. And speaking of 2020, the San Francisco Giants will be celebrating 10 years of winning their World Series, their first of 3 that they had in 6 years. 2010, the San Francisco Giants champions are going to celebrate a 10-year reunion, big celebration in San Francisco this upcoming season. But without one of their most integral parts of that championship, who had probably his best season, who probably was, well, without him, the Giants don't win that World Series because he was amazing. San Francisco Giant from 2010, first baseman Aubrey Huff. I've known him when he played for the Tampa Bay Rays, but he was on the Giants that year, and he was big for them in 2010. The San Francisco Giants are using politics over a great sports story from 2010, not inviting Huff to the reunion because of his views on social media. It has nothing to do with the Major League Baseball, the major impact of 2010 championship for the Giants. But because of his social media point of view of things in this world, the politics of life, the politics of politics, that Mr. Huff, who has just talks about everything and anything anyway. Yeah, I mean, he has followed my show. I'm grateful for it. He has actually said things, and I'm very grateful. But now the Giants said he is not welcome to the reunion this season because of his overuse of using politics. They don't accept him that way, and they don't like him for those reasons. And for whatever San Francisco Bay Area politics that continues to ruin a lot of things, this is sports, and it does nothing for the game to bring politics into that. It should be celebrated. There are fans, there are kids who loved Huff and appreciated what he did for that season, for that championship. What are you really saying? The organization of the Giants, to me, is disgusting. That you would go that far. You would go that far to take away a reunion of a guy because he has a point of view. But meanwhile, there are other guys on that roster that probably didn't speak up. But you're denouncing and taking away freedom of speech, all that stuff that we all believe under our Constitution and who we are as Americans, that we believe we should be able to speak. And legally, he is right. But the consequences for the Giants organization is we don't want you around. You just put yourself in a darker place, San Francisco Giants. You know what? I rooted for you. I was happy for you. You know, it was a great story, and it was fun to watch. But this is not what you should have just absorbed it. And now you're going to carry this story with that year because of what? Somebody in your front office or an owner or whoever and whatever it is, or some politician in the San Francisco area putting pressure on you, whatever it is. You got no gonads, man. Whatever it is. And if you're making a political statement against why this? It doesn't make sense. Honestly, San Francisco Giants, with the people in your office right now and the people in the executive office right now and whoever is making these decisions, you're not good for baseball. And number two, I hope you don't win. I hope you don't win until you clean it up and new people are there. And I will root for those people. Not the players. I feel bad for the players that have to now know that their bosses are thinking these things. And it's like, who the hell are you? Is what I want to say. I'm not rooting for the Giants. I hope they lose every game. And it stinks because those players that don't deserve to hear that. But the people running that organization, man, horrible. Horrible. But here's one guy that I love. A guy that people pick on and yell at and make jokes of him is Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was approached to play in this XFL league that nobody talked about this weekend, right? Did you talk about it? Like, is this like familiar XFL? You know, all these new leagues that come up, you get all excited for it. And all of a sudden you get like, where is the game? Like, nobody cares about the XFL. Stop it. It's like, we care because it's on TV, something to root for, something to do. It's entertainment. It's like going to the movies. It's that. And to get all hyped up for it, I'll tell you what, man, it has not changed. The only thing that you get out of the XFL is what? That you may get a chance to see a player that has a chance to make an NFL roster this upcoming summer camp. Is it like the minor league system of the NFL-ish kind of thing? They've tried this. There's been leagues. The college football is basically your minor league system anyway. You have the arena football leagues, the indoor leagues, think of the indoor league. The arena league is done, right? So, Tim Tebow would have been a big splash for the league. He turned it down. He passed on joining the XFL because he's still pursuing a career with the New York Mets as a baseball player. He had some injuries last year that slowed down his game, but he's had some great moments. Hey, the guy was an all-star 2 years ago in the minor leagues. I mean, it's still a great story. I mean, when Tim Tebow makes news, he makes news. And the XFL really wanted him. Really wanted him. All righty. I mean, it's kind of weird. Tim Tebow is a physical guy. He runs the ball. He ran the ball in college. He ran it in the NFL. He wasn't the greatest passer, but he made plays. But Lamar Jackson gets all this pub because he's a better runner. He's a running back, so he's a much better runner. But he doesn't throw the ball any better than Tim Tebow in my eyes. So it's kind of like a weird catch-22 when you look at Tim Tebow, who got ripped and laughed at, but won a playoff game, where Lamar Jackson has not won a playoff game. And it's got 2 tries so far. Just got to say that. But I'm a Tim Tebow fan. Because he's done nothing but positive things, and people just want to rip on him. That's just unnecessary. And ripping on guys in a way of like talking about Lamar Jackson. I'm not ripping on him in a way of, I'm just saying, hey, you want to pump somebody up, I'm going to let you know, tap the brakes. Tim Tebow probably now fits the NFL right now, the way his style of play was. Now, I don't think he's coming back to the NFL anyway. But Tim Tebow would be better off in the NFL than having a Colin Kaepernick. But people want Colin Kaepernick in the NFL over Tim Tebow. Say, oh, sign Cap. Like Cap couldn't throw and couldn't run. The guy was, never mind. Kaepernick, people are backwards. Well beyond backwards. All right, let's get into this right now. NFL news. Chris Harris of the Broncos, the cornerback, is probably going to be on the open market. He's a good cornerback. If you're looking for defensive help and some press coverages and man-to-man coverage and just a good defensive back, Chris Harris, Super Bowl champion, Broncos, looks like he's going to be on a different team. It looks like it's going to move on. It just through an interview with The Athletic, just wants to see how much he's worth in the free agency, and we'll see what happens if the Broncos want to jump on him. Drew Brees, news coming out, Drew Brees, that he'll return to the Saints. Drew Brees has announced that he's coming back to the New Orleans Saints for 2020. There was speculation that he may just end it. It's now official. Drew Brees is now returning to the New Orleans Saints. Cardinals get a little help on the offensive line by signing I'm going to call it an average offensive tackle in DJ Humphries for 3 years and $45 million. They need help on the offensive line. He did average last season. I don't think it was anything spectacular. And I think that the Cardinals are just trying to solidify their position at the offensive tackle instead of going after a free agent lineman who is not familiar and understanding the system that is now being or has been implemented in Arizona. At least Humphries familiar and understands it and can at least maybe stabilize something. But the Cardinals still need an outstanding tackle. Okay? They don't have an outstanding offensive tackle. And that's their goal in the offseason, to draft in the first round a very high-rated offensive tackle, if not the best one on the board. Okay? Cam Newton, reports say that he is physically good to go, passing all the tests. It seems like Teddy Bridgewater is asking for $30 million a year in free agency. Wow. Darius Slay, another defensive back, cornerback, another one that you may want to get your hands on, is a high potential trade. Detroit Lions are looking, potentially multiple teams asking about Darius Slay. He's a good one. He's a really good one if you can pick him up. Other than that, Le'Veon Bell, there's still rumors and talks that Le'Veon Bell being traded in the offseason is still a possibility. Still a possibility. All right. Don't be surprised if any of the top quarterbacks in the NFL draft hold out, meaning that they get drafted but are a holdout. Burrow, who looks like he goes to Cincinnati at the first pick, has already put it out there. Seems like he's putting it out there without saying it, that he may just hold out for the right deal, the right situation. And Justin Herbert of the Oregon Ducks, same thing. It looks like the Dolphins may be on him, unless it's Tua out of Alabama. But here's the deal. If Burrow holds out, then does Herbert hold out and wait to see what Burrow gets and then can decide how much his value is as a rookie quarterback and getting that contract? This could be a very interesting offseason with the NFL quarterback draft picks, the rookies, because if somebody holds out, it's going to slow down the whole process unless somebody says, I don't care, I want to get in camp, I want to learn, and I want to get ready for this upcoming season. But be prepared for rookie quarterbacks this year, slowing it down. Slowing it all down. All right, guys, I see you out there. I appreciate everything. Todd, I got you. Donnie in the house. Angel, Dale, Bradley, Leroy, Roger Braun in the house. Andrew in the house. Gotcha. Andy McClure, Ricardo, Kaylee in the house, and Albert in the house. Hey, Albert, thanks for popping in. So we got through NASCAR's devastating, crazy, wild finish yesterday. Then we went through all the baseball with the Astros and how baseball players are not happy. This intensifies the season even more and how they're going to be the disciplinaries on the field. This is going to get a lot of fun. It's going to get fun. And the Boston Red Sox are not out of the woods yet. We talked about the new baseball rules and how the rosters expand and how they're, it's all there. They'll replay the show if you want. Also, some NFL news out there. We talked about players and we quoted players about their unhappiness, about the baseball scandal that went on, and much more there. Just jump in back on the show when you can and replay if you want to know more. Love to have you back tomorrow. This is Hanna Time. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you popping in anytime, anywhere, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and much more to come. I got more news for you for the show and other things about Hanna Time. Stay with me. We'll see you on a Hump Day Wednesday tomorrow, right here. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna. It is Hanna Time. All right, guys. All right, YouTube. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I'm just trying to load up a few things for you, okay? All right, here we go. All right, guys. Oh, I got more to get out of there. All right.